Hey, the first week I started serving at Bill Glass Behind the Walls was March 16th, 2020. That week was the week that so many things shut down in our world. For the first time, we weren't able to get in prisons for several months. It turns out that it was going to be. A couple of weeks after I started serving with the ministry, I got a phone call from a guy by the name of Jim Buffington. He said, "Michael, I've been praying for you and I'd like to take you out to lunch." And I said, "Absolutely, Jim, let's do it." So we went out to eat, and at that time, tables were like 20 feet apart. But it was just me and him at this big table, and he's asking all about me. And finally I stopped him and said, "Jim, thank you for asking about me, but I want to know, why are you involved with this ministry? What is it about Bill Glass Behind the Walls that you love?" And he said, "Michael, it's teaching people how to be evangelists, taking them and then watching them share the gospel with those that are incarcerated." And he said, "But it was real special to me because I was going through a lot of things with my family." And he said, "So the first couple of times were really good, got to lead people to Christ, got to share the gospel, but it was that third event that really changed my life for all of eternity." He said, "My buddy invited me to go." And he said, "I didn't really want to go, but I went." And he said, "We got there, Bill Glass himself was there." And he said, "The theme of this weekend is when God throws something your way, don't duck." And he said, my buddy leaned over and said, "Man, what a great theme." And I said, "Yeah, me too." And he said, then Bill Glass said, "I need 2 people to go to ADSEG, which is administrative segregation." And his buddy leaned over to him again and said, "I hope he doesn't call on us." And Jim said, I leaned over and said, "Me too," again. And at that time, Bill Glass pointed at him and said, "You too, you ducked, you're going to ADSEG." Jim said, "Michael, I don't remember much about the whole day, but the very first guy we met was a Hispanic man that we were able to lead to Christ." He said, "It was a really long day. We were tired. When we got done, everybody would go back to the church for a meal." And he said, "I told my friend Joel, let's just eat and get out of here." So they grabbed a little room on the side and they were eating their food, and in walks a guy and says, "Can I join you guys?" And of course they said yes. And he introduces himself, and Joel says, "Hi, my name is Joel." And then Jim Buffington says, "Hi, my name is Jim Buffington." And the guy just stopped in his tracks. His eyeballs got real big. And he said, "Jim, I know this isn't a big stretch with your name being Jim, but is there any chance that you're related to a man named James Buffington?" And Jim said, "Yeah, my father was named James Buffington." And he said, "No, I don't think this is your dad. This guy spent some time in San Antonio." And Jim said, "I told him, yeah, me and my family lived in San Antonio." And the gentleman looked at Jim again and said, "Jim, I still don't think this is your dad. This guy did something really, really bad." And Jim's telling me the story. He said, "Michael, I looked at this man and I said, well, my father put out a contract for me and my 2 brothers and my mother to all be murdered. He said, me and my brothers got away, but my mother did not." Jim said the man that was sitting in that room with him looked at him and said, "Jim, your father James led me to a relationship with Jesus Christ." He said it just changed his whole world. It started the reconciliation process with him and his father. Then Jim said, "Michael, the rest of the story is this. My dad died in prison, appropriately so." And he said, "I got the rare treat to go to his memorial service in prison." And he said, when I was there, he said, they marched in over 300 inmates. They counted every one of them. Those 300 inmates were able to give testimonies, and they said, James Buffington, the man that wanted his whole family murdered and successfully murdered his wife, either led all 300 to Christ or discipled them all while he was incarcerated. behind the walls. True transformation can happen only with a relationship with Jesus Christ. To God be the glory. Hey, we would love for you to join us and go behind the walls with us. And if you'd like to do that, you can go check out all the upcoming events at behindthewalls.com, and you can reach out to us with any of the contact information you see on the screen.